So, hey, John, thank you. Thank you very much for taking your time to talk with
Sure.
us today. We really appreciate it. So, John, can you tell me a little bit about your background, what you do, how long have you been investing or trading?
Of course, yeah. Uh, Now I'm an entrepreneur, but you go way back when I'm an electrical engineer. I have an MBA. I was a consultant for Deloitte and Touche, and then I went into the high tech world and then into the business world. Um, as far as investing, I've invested all my life. Uh, First investment I ever did was bought shares of Microsoft, right? And that was a great time when Microsoft first came out. That was a really great move. And then I did that with the Fidelity investments, and I just did the classic buy and hold equities investing for a long, long time. And then I started getting more diversified to the point today where I have invested in just about any vehicle you can think of. I've traded options, bonds. I've done real estate investing, uh, venture capital for small businesses, any kind of investing you can think of. Uh, I've I've done it. And don't take that to mean I've done it successfully. There's been a lot of black swans in there, but in any case, um, I can't think of too many types of investments that I haven't tried.
Awesome. That's really interesting, and it's been quite a few years and quite experience.
Right.
And I see that they're running on a high risk settings. And can you tell me a little bit why did you choose that? How does Algocrat fit in your shares of investments?
So I try not to put more than some. I try to keep to diversify. You don't want more than 2 to 5% in any one vehicle because um, there's a saying that I learned from Tasty Trade: trade small, trade often. And when somebody gets their portfolio killed, they can always trace it back to the one big trade where they got too big. So I decided to take um, some retirement funds, a small portion of my retirement funds, and assign it to. I wanted to put it in a robot, yeah, basically an expert advisor, and I ended up finding Algocrat, and that's where I put a portion of my retirement funds.
Interesting. So that will come to my next question. How did you actually find Algocred? How did you
Oh,
get in
sure,
contact?
yeah, sure. That was a big rabbit hole. Once I had a friend um, mentioning MT5 platform, and I wasn't really enthusiastic about it. The interface wasn't um, what I was hoping to see, but in any case, here you could put an expert advisor on there and let the robot trade. But that was a big rabbit hole, as I'm sure you know. It's a crazy field of people giving away and selling expert advisors. A lot of scams, a lot of dead ends, a lot of and you kind of got to find out googling and going on different sites and Reddit and YouTube and all that. Next thing you know, I just stumbled across the Valerie Trading EA, and I got on the email list and I got notified about Algocrat opening up to investors, and I got on the waiting list. I liked the story behind what their approach was going to be, and uh, the support before I got in. I would send an email and I would get a very good answer, a well thought out answer, and it would happen again and again. We'd talk about risk and style, and I'm like, well, this is the place to go. This is this. I'll give this a shot. And so one day I finally got the notice that it's available. I did have to wait because I needed broker support for US, which is hard to do for forex trading. Um, but when that was finally available to me, I was actually before that became. I was looking into creating an offshore account to do this, which it's achievable, but it's a hassle. And what's nice about this is that when I do my tax returns, I don't have to check that box that says, "Do you own any foreign accounts?" I could leave that because that gets a lot of scrutiny in the U.S. Once you check that box, all of a sudden, you've raised a red flag. So that's a really nice feature for me. Once they got the U.S. support broker, I was happy.
Awesome. That's yeah, it's just like you. I imagine there's a lot of U.S. brokers, and we do get a lot of emails from U.S. traders, and it is what it is. And I'm happy
Yeah,
that you got through.
fun
And
way.
and
Yep.
and awesome that you got from there. And when you looked at Algocrat, what was your first thoughts? Did you have any doubts or worries about before starting?
Oh, are you kidding me? Of course. I don't know what this is, who these people are really. It's not like it's got some big brand like Charles Schwab Investing or Merrill Lynch. So yeah, so from my standpoint, it's relatively unknown, and it's in that murky field that I don't know how best to describe it. The murky field of EA, expert advisors. So it's because of the environment is tainted so bad. Yeah, of course I have my doubts. Of course I was concerned, but like I said, the sort of before I signed up, I was having really good dialogue through email, and I'm not used to that. Uh, if, if there was anything shady about it, it probably would have fallen apart in that communication.
Got it. And in because of that, what actually made you decide to go through, to actually make your first investment and sign up? From out of that, what was the point that says, okay, this is the time to start?
I guess the point was there wasn't a point of singularity, right? It checked a few boxes, right? It looked authentic. Um, the promise was I didn't have to buy the robot. That was an option, was to buy an EA.
Hmm.
One of the options there. I was really ready to do that. Instead, I did this. There wasn't any upfront cost. The approach was good. The trading approach and the simplicity was good. Like if you if you think about how simple this is, like I don't even look at the robot. I just look at this dashboard. It was a headache getting my retirement account set up to be self-directed and then invested in this, but that had nothing to do with Algocrat. Once you send the money over through the broker and set up the Algocrat, I do nothing but check the account whenever I feel like it. I do nothing. So, and that's what I was looking for. That's the whole point of a robot, right? It takes the emotion and my flawed trading styles out of the picture, and I don't. That's
Have
exactly what
you
I wanted. Yeah.
when you said in your experience about trading that you used buy and hold, did
Sure.
you actually do any day trading, or did you
Yeah,
do at some
for
point?
sure.
Yes. And
Yeah.
you just said about
S&P
removing
mini,
the,
all the yeah. Day trading for sure. Options day trading, you name it.
so right now you said that emotions, that you trade without emotions. Has Algocrat helped you with that? Have you be
100%. That's the beauty and magic of this particular thing. Um, I will tell you, the first month was it took some reserve. So my first investment was $25,000, right? In fact, that's all I put into it so far, and I'm looking forward to putting more in there. But my plan was to give one full year, watch the performance for a full year, and then add to it. But the first $25,000, in a matter like just like in day trading, the first thing the trade does is it goes down, right? First thing it does, and you kind of have to get used to that, right? And I don't know if you ever do, but you just kind of let yourself. So it goes down before it goes up almost every time, and it's a pure amateur that thinks it can happen. Other than that, you are going to lose a big portion of your trades. Hopefully, you win more. You are going to lose before you win. And the first month, this thing went from 25 to 24 to 23 to 20, and I was like, "Oh my god, really?" I'm not telling anybody about this. But nope, this was the deal. You can't be that guy. You can't be that amateur. And I waited it out, and that was the bottom. That was the biggest drawdown period of the whole experience. The drawdowns got better after that, and it clawed its way back and then some. Very
Maybe
happy.
maybe that would be a good point, or maybe a good time if you would like to share your screen so you can actually walk us through of
Of
what
course.
happened to your account. All right.
Sure.
So,
Just click on that. Are we
yep.
looking at it now?
Yes. Yes, we're
Okay.
looking at your.
Now, just it doesn't show you the account balance, but if it did, here, I can dig it up on my phone real quick. Let's see here. That's not the best way. It's around 48,000 right now. Like I
Okay.
said, the original investment was 25. Um, you can see this is what I like to say. This is the only chart that matters, but you can see the growth over time. Lately, it's been a little flat. I'm still happy with the overall return, but I'll be happy to show you any section or any other numbers that you'd like to see.
No, it's just basic like that. When you said that you had a large drawdown in the beginning,
Yeah.
so it was just on the first months, and then it kind of recovered.
Oh, it definitely recovered, and then the results were very good. It's not to say that there haven't been flat or drawdown months, but or periods, I should say. But it always recovers. And lately, the drawdowns, none of the drawdowns were ever as severe as that first month. That's for sure.
All
um,
right.
so
And what's your
that's
plans
good
for the
news.
future on regarding Algocrat?
Yeah. So it's going to be in August, or yeah, in August, where I look at or I reevaluate and rebalance portfolio, and I'll decide how much more to put in there. But at this rate, I don't see why I wouldn't invest, uh, you know, more. I just have to decide how much more. Um, I've really been happy with the performance and the support and the ease. And if have you ever done day trading? Do you do trading now?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I do. I do.
Um,
Not anymore. I only use EAs. I
yeah,
also
because
believe that.
once you do that, I don't see why you would ever day trade again. It's just I have an older brother, and he just can't let it go, and he's been how do I nicely say this? He's he's been trying to win at day trading for the last 15 years, and I just tell him about this. He's like, no, I'm gonna do it. I do. I'm like, okay, all right. Well, you should really
When
try
you
this.
look at when you look at the large banks or like all the professionals, they're all doing automatic trading.
Yeah, yeah, oh
That's
yeah.
what the world is.
It's what the world has been for a while, I think, and then it's just it's making its way to the retail investor through things like Algocrat. So um, I'm happy about that.
Perfect. Would you recommend? How would you recommend this to a friend, to a colleague, or to a family?
Yeah. Oh, I would highly recommend it. The trick is, I don't want to say sophisticated. It really only helps. I can really only explain it well to an experienced investor. You know, if they're first time traders or just looking where to put some money, I don't know if I can explain why this is better than just giving your money to you know a mutual fund or something for a beginner. But once you have some experience trading, I can clearly make the use case for this. You know, uh, and I can strongly recommend it.
All right. Is there any? Well, and we're almost at the end, and I just ask you, do you have anything that you would like to share or you'd like to say that something that we haven't discussed yet in our interview?
Um, I don't think there's nothing new, but I can't overstate the power of that removing the emotion out of the equation. I can't overstate it enough. Two things, right? You took the emotion out and you won. I mean, when anybody would say, you started with 25,000 and in less than a year you have, 48,000 in the account, that's the return. You don't have to do much math. You could just do envelope math on that and say, okay, you win. What else you got? You know, that's pretty amazing. That far outpaces just any other tool. You'd have to just get pure luck just to do better than that. Just have pure luck. So those two things are really hard to overstate the overall return in the time frame and the removal of emotions. You just want to. I'll never break my rule of diversification that I said at the beginning of the call, but it's like one of those memes. It's like, okay, just take all my money. But never do that. But when a product performs like this, it's like, wow, why wouldn't you just keep trying to put more, allocate more assets to it?
Why didn't it put 100?
Why not? Yeah, why not?
Well, John, I thank you very much. I think everybody that was watching enjoyed our interview. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for sharing all that information. I'm sure it's going to be very helpful.
Well, very good.
All right. Thank you very much, John.
All right,
And we'll
you
see
bet.
you
Have a
soon.
great day. You bet. Bye bye.
Bye bye.